We were hearing about how much happier it makes you. Then, of course, now Christmas trees are now butter. Butter good for you, butter bad for you, butter good for you, butter bad for you. Eggs are good for you, eggs are bad for you. Why does nobody trust these people anymore? I don't know. They speak out of both sides of their goddamn mouths every chance they get. Could that be maybe what it is? I think maybe that's what it was. Big thumbs up over here from Stansberry on that one. Maybe that's what that is. Now a doctor's telling you, psychologist, put up that Christmas tree a little too early. You're a narcissist, man. I can't wait to find out how this isn't true. They say deck in the halls? Yeah. You're a dick. Christmas Day is more than a month out. People, including celebrities, already starting their stuff. Yeah, well, celebrities are out there trying to get the views. They say decorating early, specific kind of person. Whether you just pulled it out now or if you had it out for a month. Psychologist Carmen Herron is telling you that putting up your decorations early can reveal concealed emotions and subconscious behavioral tendencies, including narcissism. Quote, narcissists derive a sense of high satisfaction from being the center of attention, from being praised and applauded. Is that what's happening when people put up their tree early? They're being praised and applauded? Is that what's happening? Or is your practice down? You needed to get your name out so all of a sudden you can then start to be the hot thing. Is that what happened here? Leave the nice Christmas tree ladies alone. They're fine. You know what that nice Christmas tree lady did for me? Make me Christmas cookies. That wasn't bad. You know what I mean? I maybe didn't want the tinsel on the floor in October, but I gotta tell you, the little green Christmas trees were all right. That part was okay. Leave them alone. She said it makes sense then that these character traits can easily be fulfilled by turning one's house into a winter wonderland for the entire neighborhood to admire. Well, is turning the inside of my house into an entire winter wonderland for my neighbors, or is that for me and my children? Yeah, see, that's the part that gets tricky. Now, if you're the person who's like on the news because of the light display in the front yard, that's a little look at me. There's a little look at me. My neighborhood growing up, I grew up in Aurora. We had one of those guys at the end of my street. And it was like every year, dude, it was like mile long of cars that would just wait to go. And that guy took it so seriously, he had a different setup every other year. He had like even years was one setup, and odd number of years. I mean, like he took it. It was like their thing. They didn't have kids. They both drove, convertible Corvettes, and yet were like Christmas weird. Like there was a lot of weird stuff going on at that house. Now that I think about it, right? Hot tubs and key parties and all kind of stuff. But they were into Christmas, right? They were into that. And we did, as kids, we loved that. We loved seeing that. I had the curmudgeon dad. I had that guy. Like, literally, I'll never forget. My dad said this to me once. I said, when are you going to put the lights up? So you want to see Christmas lights? I said, yeah. He said, I bought this house. You know what it comes with? Windows. Look out of them. Your neighbor's got the lights on. I love that man so much, dude. Leave these people alone. Right? Leave these people alone. If you want to yell at Target because it's not Turkey Day yet and this is your fight and your line in the sand where you got to be mad, then do that, I suppose. But if your neighbor's putting up the Christmas tree in their living room, I think it's early. Like, all right, I work at the radio stations, right? There's always a big conversation. When do you start playing the Christmas music? When do you do it? When do you do it? When do you do it? For me, it really only makes sense like 3 days. Black Friday or December 1st. Those are the three, right? Now, there's a different reason, obviously, why we don't choose any of those three, and we go earlier than that, obviously. There is let's not get into it, but there's a reason why you do that. And those people love it. It's on in the hallway all day here. Am I the target audience for Christmas music? I am not. I am murderous now already. But most people find joy in it. And, I used to be so angry that, I was too concerned with other people being happy, and it's like, what, are you smiling, pussy? Oh, dude, wait, you just I'm here to ruin it. You know what I mean? And then I really took their happiness got nothing to do with me. As a matter of fact, I heard this once, and I loved this so much because I need to adopt it more. That is exactly how amazing happiness is. That it really doesn't matter if it's yours or not. And it's like, I wish I was that person a little bit more. I'm not. You know what I mean? I'm more like, oh, the world sucks, right? Like, I'm that guy. I wish I was that person a little bit more, but I'm not. Let the people decorate. All right, if your wife's doing it, it's annoying. Dude, is this like the first thing your wife did that annoys you? Like, literally, I remember my father telling me that, too. Like, I'll never forget it. He's like, I was complaining about a girlfriend, right? And he said to me, he's like, did you honestly think you were going to bring another person into your life and it was just going to be all smiles all day, every day? And he literally pointed to downstairs of the house. And he said to me, he's like, Daniel, are you under the impression that woman down there doesn't drive me nuts? Like, is that what you think? Because if you think I live here and she doesn't make me crazy, Daniel, you have not been listening. She makes me crazy. Just less crazy than everybody else who lives out there. So she gets to live in here.
The Stansberry Show. On Rock 106.9.
Welcome to the Stansberry Show. Here on Tuesday morning, I think. Hold on, let me get this pulled up. So if you missed yesterday's program, you may just want to pull that one up and listen to that one today. Not sure how we're going to be able to get today's program done. A couple of different problems here. So I've been locked out of my corporate account. There's been a password issue. They asked me to reset it this morning. I reset it. I went to go enter it this morning, and they said, nope, that's not it. You're locked out. Sorry, suck it. Terrifying. And then I'm going to use this program. And the little controller knobby thing wouldn't work. Button is what you would call it, maybe. And then they tell you there's a backup. And it's this little digital backup right here, right? And I can just press this if that should happen. And I went to go press that, and it didn't work. And then there's like a third backup. And when you know it, you have to log into an iHeart program for that. Thank God I don't want you just doing it at your house and controlling the radio station, right? But remember, the first problem is I've been locked out of my account. So now if this button right here does not do what I needed to do, I have no idea how to move the radio station forward from here on out. So you have a host who is on the edge of his seat, curious about how this program shall go. If we get through it together as a class, you and I, what we will get to today is a podcaster decided to smoke her father. Now, this is not exactly the way you have heard it probably. This woman smoked her father's ashes. Not technically. That's not exactly what happened. People like to say it that way as a way to be salacious and maybe get you to listen to it. But she decided her father, a little bit of a rebel. And so she decided she was going to smoke her father's ashes. She has done this sort of. It's still something as a marijuana person I would not do. We all know my father, a pretty big figure in my life. Clearly her father, a big figure in hers. However, I would not have taken this particular path. This is what she's chosen. I have some audio here for you. We will hope to get to that a couple of times throughout the program. Yesterday, I had to talk a little Netflix more than a few times. The reason being is that on Friday night, more than a few of us were sitting on the couch trying to watch a little Netflix. It was the Jake Paul-Mike Tyson fight. Jake Paul winning on the cards. I believe Mike Tyson landing all of 18 punches in 8 rounds. More and more people are starting to say, guys, Mike was pulling his punches. He wasn't allowed to throw uppercuts. Look at this. He didn't throw this punch here where he could have. And it's like more and more people are like, guys, what we saw here, look at what we get here. Now, we can move past the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. Because what so many people were upset about was Netflix overall. Doesn't seem as if they're quite ready for the live entertainment aspect of television just yet. I had predicted this would really be a little bit of an issue. They had done a live golf event, and I watched that, and it was clunky. Like, it was clunky. You could tell it's like their producers and like everybody, like they don't quite have this part of this. They don't quite have it down yet. They'll get it. But now people are starting to worry about Netflix and the streaming issues you saw and the frame rate and the freezing of the screen and all of that. You know why? Because I think we're under 40 days away from the holiday, right? And we're all going to be sitting around watching the boob-doob, watching television. And one of the things you watch over the holidays is what? Football. Netflix knows that. So does the NFL. That's why they got together and built themselves a little bit of a lucrative partnership. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Netflix has a couple of games this holiday. Now, you think people were mad over screen freezes with Jake Paul, Mike Tyson? Just wait. Just wait if on a holiday people can't get their football fix because of this. you know what? Maybe that's the best possible thing that could happen for you to do. I mean, if you think about it this way, maybe that's when people start to realize, hey, you know what? This whole legacy stuff, maybe you don't get to, use the word legacy until you have figured out how to do something well. Right? Maybe that's why they're called legacy, is because they haven't figured out already. Right? Maybe that's why they get to use that L word. But we'll talk about Netflix, the deal, how much money is at stake here, and whether or not you're going to enjoy that experience watching that. By the way, you're going to hate one of the halftime performers of one of those games. I don't know why. This should have been easily seen coming down the road. Her hair out, and I don't quite understand it, but we will get to that. You know what else we're going to have to talk a little bit about today? All of a sudden, politics and sports, it's in vogue, man. It's a very popular thing right now. Who is responsible for that? Wait till you see who I wave the finger at over that. We'll get to politics and sports and its newfound love in the spotlight. People seem to be loving that right now. We'll talk about that a little bit when we get to the clock hour. Also, yesterday, our very own city dealing with a tragedy. Fugitive officer was injured. There's a lot to unpack here, and we will do it in the 7 o'clock hour. There were people looking for me to rush to some judgments yesterday, to jump on the air to say some things, to jump on social media to say some things. I took a little bit of heat from some people over the fact that I did not just jump automatically and start telling you everything I had heard. And part of the reason is, and I guess we can make this assessment as a class together, you hear so much about fake news and how people don't like it and how they can't trust and we don't know and we don't think and you should know and verify. And then yesterday, everybody wanted, not everybody, but there were a few people who were like looking to me to like run with just what I've heard. And I was like, that's irresponsible. And I thought, and I'm not on anybody, I'm not yelling, I'm not complaining, nothing, I'm just observing it, right? And I noticed that yesterday. I was like, God, man, like in the moment of this, people are looking for almost, flimsy information. Now, I guess the point you could say is, will anything be better than nothing? I would disagree with that view. That for me, it's like, well, no, something about it isn't better than nothing. Something accurate about it. And so when we got the release from Jackson Police Department, I had posted that. We talked about that a little bit. And, I had posted that. But I saw so many rumors going around yesterday. I was like, that's not what happened, and that's not this, and that's not that. And, it's going to bring up the conversation about information. Where we get it, where it comes down, how many sources should you have before you verify, but before you tell people what you're comfortable. Should there be a different rule of engagement for social media versus what I do, what other people do, what other broadcasters do? Should there be? Should there be everybody tells us, well, we're pretty much done, right? We're over. That's the new world order, right? Should it almost be stricter there, since that's where everybody's going? You got to wonder about stuff like that. We'll talk about that a little bit at 7 o'clock. We'll run down some details. There's some eyewitness reports about that, too. Can'tRep.com had a few of those reports, and we'll get to a few of those in the 7 o'clock hour this morning here on the Stansbury Show. Like I said, a podcaster smokes her father's ashes, though. We'll get to that. And just yesterday, in this very hallway, a staff member, a co-worker of mine, made me feel like I'm 200 years old and I should just be buried alive because my life is over. And I'll walk you through that next here on the Stansbury Show.
The Stansbury Show.
Live from the Hall of Fame City. And just as bad as NFL officiating.
The Stansbury Show. On Rock 106.9.
Could it be? Are we back? Are we back at full power? Could it possibly be? Welcome to the Stansbury Show for the third time this morning. Hopefully we'll be able to get through one conversation. Been a little touch and go this morning. I kind of freaked out at mission controls, if I'm honest. I've warned, right, about more and more things going solely web-based and the like. And we kind of have a new program, and it's kind of done, right? It's, oh, yeah, just put it in the cloud, everything. And I had some issues with the program. And those of you that listen every day, it's like we've seen some of this. And, like, I'm not necessarily the only market guy with it. Like, there's, I don't know, I asked them the other day, something like 120 stations have it, right? And that's what they did. It was like, kind of put it in, let's see what we get. And they wanted to use me is because I'm a little bit of a hybrid show, right? You get a couple of songs an hour, but I, run my mouth a little too much too. It's like there's a little bit, right? You get a little bit of everything, right? And so they were like, well, that's a good test point, actually. And I thought to myself, oh no, right? Because like I'm not a fan of new. I'm just not, right? I'm kind of resistant. And we had some issues this morning. And some of you were able to pick up on a conversation, overhear me talking to an IT professional about the fact that I was unable to get into the system due to being locked out, trying to log in too many times. Oh no, system won't work. Let me log out. Let me try to log back in. Oh no, now you're not allowed in at all, right? So like I had that. So I called the IT guy, and apparently you guys were able to hear that conversation. I'm appreciative of this. I always say, if you want to find out how many people are listening to you, if you do a show like this, screw up. You can come in here with the best content of your life, bro. They'll sit there and they'll be like, who cares? You kind of suck today. But screw up, buddy, and you'll find out. Now it's dead air. Thank you. You know what I mean? I happen to know that one, but we don't always know. We have had a few issues this morning. It's kind of knocked me off, my traditional rhythm and game, if you will. One of the things that happened here yesterday in the hallway, and I wanted to be able to pull this up, and I'm a little afraid to do it with the system now. There's a new, I'm going to call him a kid, and I should, right? But there's a newer guy that works here, right? And he's been here less than a year, I think maybe even under 6 months. And he could not be a nicer guy. He is young. He's turning 25, as a matter of fact, on Friday. That's young to me. And I was literally just telling another coworker of ours the other day, he kind of reminds me of me when I was 25 working in an office full of people. And there's I kind of see some of that. And we were talking about some stuff yesterday. And I found out not this young man, but somebody else in my building is under the impression that the challenge, that there are two of them out there apparently, that one is faked for television to on a little bit of a TikTok rabbit hole yesterday. There are people who believe they put the shuttle up unmanned, nobody in it, and that headed through. So we had gotten to talking about some of those conspiracies a little bit yesterday, and the whole is Trent Reznor. Now it's pretty interesting, right? There's a couple of things to unpack. First, Trent really didn't go by Trent mostly, and then I said. He went, oh. I went, what? He goes, I just think, he goes, I never really lived. And I'm like a hole, right? And I started the chorus. I was like, actually the verse. I was like, God, money, I'll do anything for you. God, money, I'll do whatever. That whole thing. And he was looking at me like I had 8 heads. And I was like, okay. I was like, I remember, I was like, I'm my dad now. And I know I've been turning into him slowly over the last 20 years. And thank God. I gotta tell you, dude, I'm ready to rotate all the way in now. Thank God. But I'll never forget, and I remember laughing at my dad and thinking, I was like, oh, dude, shut up. Your time's over, dude. The future's now, old man. And here's what it was. We were sitting in the living room, and a Cadillac commercial came up. And I believe it was, they used Black Dog, maybe? They used something. And I remember he just leaned right up on that couch, looked at me and said, mark this day down on the calendar, boy. Like, what life lesson am I getting now? What? Just mark it down, boy. This is the day Cool died, right there. Led Zeppelin should be nowhere near anything like that right there. Right? And it was and that was it, right? And it's and that's how this feels to me, where it's now geez, dude, the guy who made every parent go crazy. Keep your kids away from this. Oh my God, they're gonna be school shooters if they listen to Trent. Oh my God, this and that. And not only is he not scary anymore, it's that people don't even care who he is anymore. I gotta be honest with you, man. That one, that sat with me all day, man. I wasn't ready for that yesterday at all.
The Stansberry Show.
Yeah, I hear that kind of obnoxious behavior is very big right now in the dangerous idiot community.
On Rock 106.9.
Should remind you, Black Friday right around the corner, right? That's when a lot of people are going to start their holiday shopping. Black Friday, also Record Store Day. So keep Quantinon in mind for that. That's where I grab all my RSD exclusives. Anything I might need for my weekend plans? Yeah, I normally pick it up at Quonset too. Cleveland Avenue, 38th Street Northwest, online qhut.com. Get you ready for next pickleball season. They got all the gear in there, clothing, tapestries. And yeah, Record Store Day Black Friday, check out qhut.com for more info. We were talking about the holiday a little bit, and we were talking about how, we had always heard that the earlier you celebrate or start to decorate for Christmas, the happier you are overall. And I always said, look, I was a little bit of this is anecdotal at best, but the people, meaning it's my experience and it doesn't necessarily mean it's true. I know what you just said to yourself. You really have to explain anecdotal? You'd be surprised. I had to explain what hyperbole meant to somebody once. Somebody who calls me coming. Hi, Logan. How are we, buddy? Are we all alpha and pissed off today? Is it because I'm talking about Christmas trees? Continue to seethe and cope. Anyway, so we were talking about this a little bit because I see this in my life, that the people who kind of decorate, like I'm thinking of a coworker of mine, all right? And she's sarcastic like I am, but she's a happy person. She got her, by the way, trees out. Yeah, her house has more than one tree. I believe she said they have 3 trees in that house. Now, one of my favorite movies ever, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Over Thanksgiving, and they're walking, up the street, they get to Neil's house at the end of the movie. She lives in Neil Page's house. That's exactly, when I saw it the first time I went to her house, I was like, oh God, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. So, she probably needs 3 trees in there. I do not, right? The one tree will get me done. But, she's a happy person. She's also got 3 kids in that house, right? And she's, doing that whole thing, and kids, and that's what Christmas is mostly about once you start to age, is about the children. Yeah, of course, everybody kind of knows that. Everybody kind of knows that. That's not necessarily a problem. And, but now all of a sudden, and I don't buy that at all. I literally don't. And because only one psychologist is telling me, yeah, I just don't buy it. I feel like this is just a way for this woman to get mentioned. I really do. She says narcissists have they have a sense of high satisfaction from being the center of attention, from being praised and applauded. It makes sense then that these are the character traits that can be easily fulfilled by turning one's house into a winter wonderland for the entire neighborhood to admire. And I kind of said in the previous conversation, we're talking about the inside or the outside of your home being decorated, would it not? She says that giving yourself a chance to show off, it also gives people